Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. This is episode 356, as well as day 356 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I challenged myself to run 365 days in a row, all outside, buried in the elements, whatever they may bring. I also challenged myself to run 1,500 miles within this yearly time frame, as well as to run 2 major races within this yearly time frame of me running the 365 days in a row. One of those major races being a 50K ultra marathon trail race, and I was actually able to run and finish that race on day 156 of my journey, and that was the Yankee Springs 50K trail race out in Middleville, Michigan. I finished that 31-mile race within 7 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds, which was a personal record for me, and was able to keep the streak alive after that race up to the next race within this yearly time frame, which was the Detroit Free Press Marathon. That was on day 290 of my journey. Ran that 26.2 mile race within 3 hours, 57 minutes, and 28 seconds, which was a personal record for me, shooting for a sub 4 hour time, and was able to just obtain it. So really excited and stoked about that as well. Was able to keep the streak alive since that race, clearly, since we are currently here on day 356. So let's break down the mileage for the day, the week, the month, and the year. So for the day today, got out there again and put in another 5K, 3.1 miles. Did that for the third time this week, which put me at 9.5 miles for the week, which put me at 76.3 miles for the month, which put me at 1,651.7 miles for the year. So we are 151.7 miles over the actual yearly goal of 1,500 miles. We're at 1651.7. The original goal was 1,250. So realized I was going to surpass that. So boosted it up to 1,500, and we have surpassed that. So we're going to see how far we can take this yearly mileage goal. Or just see how far we're going to be able to take this yearly mileage past the 1,500 mile goal. Currently, we are 151.7 past it. But now let's focus in on these monthly miles of 76.3. And I want to do so because every single month I challenge myself to run a 100-mile challenge, and I do it in honor of a charity in which I donate money to, as well as I start a coinciding fundraiser to try to raise money and awareness for throughout that month. For the first 11 months, raised money for 11 great charities. Now we're here in the 12th month, raising money for yet another great charity. This charity for December's 100-mile challenge is St. Jude Children's Hospital. If you would like to donate to this month's fundraiser, you can find the link to do so on the Defining Discipline Instagram story or the Defining Disciplines Facebook story, or my personal pages, Instagram or Facebook stories. Within any of those stories, you just click on the link within it where it says December's 100-mile challenge for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Click on that. It'll open up the page where you're able to make your donations. I want to let you know that every single penny, every single portion of your donation goes directly to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Facebook is not taking any percentage or portion of your donation. Even though they are the middleman within this transaction, they've made the agreement not to take any percentage of the donations, and all donations go directly to these causes. This month's cause being St. Jude's. So every penny goes to St. Jude's this month. I do know times are tough though, and not everyone can afford to donate. Or maybe you have donated and want to still help out. If either of those are the cases, the next best thing you can do is click on that share button, because we are trying to raise awareness for this cause throughout this month. The best way to do it is to get as many eyeballs on it as possible. So just click on that share button, put it on your page, put it on your stories if you don't want it on your page. Either works. But click that share button. Let's help out. Get your donations in as well for St. Jude's Children's Hospital for the December 100 mile challenge. Other than that, we've talked about the day, the week, the month, the yearly mileage. Talked about the other goals. So now really the only goal left we have is to finish out the year. 9 days left in order to do that. And I do have a couple other mini goals that I had set throughout the year. One of them being run a half marathon at least in every single month. Still have to do my half marathon for December. So that's another thing I still have to get done within one of these 9 days, which I do have planned an 18-mile run, which counts as a half marathon because it's over a half marathon. So, other than that, let's get into today's episode. Right before, as always, let's go over the word of the day. Today's word of the day for December 22nd is benign. Benign means not causing harm or injury. In medicine, refers to tumors that are not cancerous. Benign. That is today's word of the day for December 22nd. Now, let's get into today's actual episode. Episode 356. Day 356. Today's theme for today's episode. It's a good one for today. It's one I wanted to save for a while and kind of really think about and contemplate before talking about, which I have saved for a while, but didn't have much time to really think about and contemplate because it's something that I've actually been doing every single day while doing these challenges. So let's talk about it. 356, day 356. Today's theme for today is wisdom. And I want to talk about wisdom because the most wise thing that I know about wisdom is the more wise I become, the more I really actually realize that I don't know jack. And what I mean by that is, I'm learning more things. I obviously know and understand a lot of things, but the more I start to actually understand is the more I actually understand that I don't really know anything. And I think that really is a great definition of wisdom. And wisdom, in my mind, is something that, we're always chasing because we're always going to become wiser. I take that back. Not all of us are always going to become wiser. It's because it is, again, something I think we have to be conscious about. But there's always the potential to always become wiser. And I think, again, something that I've realized, at least with the wisdom that I have gained over the many years I've had on this earth, which isn't many, but 33 years, especially as of late, the wisdom I have gained is the more I know. Like I said, the more I know, the more I realize I don't know anything. And the more I'm trying to understand, and the more I start to understand, the more even more different questions and crazier things pop up. So wisdom is a tricky thing, but wisdom, I do believe, comes with age, and wisdom becomes, again, it's something that is voluntary, where you have to actually want it. I do believe it's something that we all think that we just gain. And I guess we do all gain a sense of wisdom in sorts. But I think the biggest thing about wisdom and the biggest thing about a lot of these episodes is it's something that is unattainable. It's something that is always going to have to be chased. It's something that is always going to have to be strived for. It's an ideal. It is something that you really look towards and aim towards, and something you're always chasing. And you become wise, but there's always more wisdom, and you could always become more wise. So there's never a peak. It's an infinite, um, an infinite sky, or an infinite potential. Basically, the sky is the limit, so you can just keep going and going and going. With wisdom, there's always so much more wisdom to gain, and I think that is, like most of these episodes, like I said, it's something that I've realized over um, these past few years. I think that may be its own wisdom in itself, is kind of realizing that a lot of these attributes and a lot of these things are really just ideals that have to be worked on a day-to-day basis. They have to become habits. They have to become something we strive for. And um, like anything within life, there's something that we have to practice. Um, you don't get good at something without practicing. You don't get good at anything without putting in the work. Um, and that goes with the same thing with these kind of ideals. With wisdom, you're not going to become wise uh, without the experience. And through the years of just having experiences, you gain your own um, source of wisdom. So, but again, I think the trick there is realizing that there's always room to grow. There's always room to strive to become more wise and to become better. And you're always going to look back at yourself and go, what the hell was I thinking then? That's one thing that I've always found, crazy. And with wisdom, I found, is you always look back at yourself, looking back at things I wrote when I was a teenager, and looking back at, when I was 20, looking back at things that I wrote when I was a teenager, then looking back at things that I wrote when I was a teenager now, and just how crazy it was, and looking back at things I wrote when I was 20 now, and just every 5 years you can look back on yourself from 5 years ago and think, wow, I was so crazy then, and look what I wanted, and look what I was going for, and our life is so sporadic and crazy, and so many things happen, and so many miracles happen, and we gain wisdom within that, and that is the beauty within it, is that we're always going to gain that wisdom. So enough of me talking about wisdom, because I can just go on and on and on, because again, I think it's something that is truly a day-to-day thing that we always work on. It's a day-to-day thing that we can always gain some day-to-day wisdom from the day before, from all these experiences that we have. So for your daily discipline today, day 356, is to focus on that wisdom. It's to think about your wisdom. Think about all the experiences you had that have gotten you to where you are today. Think about 5 years ago and the things that you can look back at and say, wow, why was I doing there? Or all the things you've learned from just within these past 5 years, the wisdom you've gained. Now look towards the future and think of the things that you may also, do the same now when you look back at yourself now within the future. 5 years from now, when you go to look back at yourself now, what are you going to be saying? What are you going to be thinking? Like, wow, why was that? Why did I think that was so important? Or why was I aiming for this, or whatever the case may be. Just think about wisdom in general and how on a day-to-day basis we can gain so much wisdom within these experiences that we have. So, other than that, thank you guys so much for listening and following along. This is day 356 of my journey. We only have 9 days left of this, and we will be changing the format. Won't be doing these episodes like this. Won't be doing daily things of talking as much like this. Still kind of trying to figure out how we're going to transition it, but it will be different. It will not be so hands-on and time-consuming, but it has been a great journey. I've learned so much over these last 356 days, and cannot wait to spend these last 9 days with you guys. So this is day 356 of the Defining Discipline podcast. This is episode Wisdom. If you guys can, please give this podcast a like, a subscribe, a follow, a share on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and whatever other podcast streaming platform you've been following along and listening on. Other than that, get your daily discipline done. Daily discipline done for the day today. If you can, get your donations in for December's 100-mile challenge in honor of St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And other than that, guys, just stay disciplined, and I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 357 as we come one day closer to closing out this 365-day challenge for the year 2021. Do want to add one disclaimer here on the end, because as we're transitioning into 2022, I do not want to have too much confusion, but technically this being day 356 of my running, that is day 356 for the year 2021. The actual run streak is day 359. I did run 3 days prior to 2021 to end the year 2020, to hit the 1,000 mile mark for the year 2020, which was a goal of mine in 2020. I had to run the last 3 days of the year, which bled into this year and just never stopped. But I did not count those 3 days within the 2021 yearly streak. So that's why the yearly streak is at day 356, but the actual run streak is 359. So when we do roll into year 2022, we will be starting on day 369. So I wanted to add that disclaimer here at the end, so we kind of don't throw too much confusion in. Other than that, again, though, thanks. I'll see you guys tomorrow for episode 357. Until then, peace out, guys. Thanks.